what it is. Handle biz. Rick Chan, one fucking flavor for you to withstand. Finally back, kicking it off with the kickstand. About to get in deep like quicksand. With WMOF, the bit is about to get lit. Who you with? The main man here, talking to you about the Street Fighter EX2 soundtrack. Now we did EX1 last time, and it's EX2 now, one of my favorites. This is a bit more of a massive undertaking than the last one, so I'm going to try to get through this as soon as possible. But that track that we entered in with was more stronger, because we entered in with stronger last time, so now it's more stronger. So hopefully it's enough to contain the funk that's about to be in this show. We about to get with it, time to get lifted. Let's go in to the wiki speaks. Now here we have Street Fighter EX2 in the Romanji Suturito Fighter EX suit. The Romanji here. 2D head-to-head fighting game with 3D graphics produced by Capcom and Arika. Originally released in 1998 as a coin-operated game for the Sony ZN2 hardware. It is a sequel to Street Fighter EX, a 3D spin-off series of Street Fighter. An updated version, Street Fighter EX2 Plus, was released in 1999 in arcades and subsequently ported to PlayStation the same year. Of course, I'm reading this from Wikipedia, so just got to give the proper credentials there. And let's see here. The gameplay retains all the features from the EX Plus, including the original guard breaks, which I don't know, I think was a precursor to the focus attack on Street Fighter 4. But I could be wrong. It kind of reminds me of that. This thing, you got this glowing fist, you hit the guy and he kind of gets dizzy and you break through the guard and you have a free hit there. Then super canceling, which you could do, you can run through like combo after combo. If you have enough meter, you can switch from one combo to the next That's one of the hallmarks of the EX series there. But they added something called the Excel combo, which Excel, they say here, was an abbreviation for extra cancel. So it was akin to the custom combos of Street Fighter Alpha 2, if you remember. You kind of would initiate this, go right into the combo, and you can add all different attacks that you want to connect, basic moves. And you have a time limit, of course, for how long you can do that. Yeah. Of course, you had your standards, Ryu, Ken, Chun-Li, Zangief, and Gao, who were all in the last one. The EX specific characters, Hokuto, Doctrine Dark, Skullomania, and Crackerjack return. Delson returns as well. Blanca, Vega are here now. And now we have Sharon, the spy chick, Hayate, the samurai. Of course, Alan Snyder, Blair Dame, Darren Monster, Pullum Perna, and Bison were omitted from the original version of EX2, they're saying here, but they were added later to EX2 Plus, with the exception of Alan and Blair, who would be later in the fighting layer, which we're going to redo that one because, yeah, I'm going to do that one over, so we'll be talking about that one somewhere in the landscape of this. They say it's an unrelated game, but I guess probably for legal purposes. And Street Fighter character Sakura was omitted from the EX2 games. However, she does return to Part 3, which we will be talking about much later. It also features the 4 hidden characters, Kyrie, not to be mistaken with the basketball player, Kyrie Irving. Shadow Geist, it's like this wrestler, vigilante cat, and Nanase, this girl, she has a bow staff, which is pretty dope. Garada returns as well. All these characters can be selected once you have met certain requirements within the game. Beating the game, usually there's some type of codes that you have there or whatever. My personal experience with the game is I never really played this in the arcade until way after its release. So I probably played it, maybe it was 2013 or 2014. This was back when Game Galaxy was still near Hickory Hollow. So I played it out there, RIP to that location, but they had a much better location in Murfreesboro, so we're not tripping. It's much bigger, much more expanded. But yeah, that's where I first played it. At Game Galaxy was the arcade, so that's rather late. Um, I don't even think I even encountered this on PlayStation before. I think my dealing with it was the emulator, Zinc. I talked about this before, the Zinc emulator that had the emulated ZN2 or ZN1 hardware. You could play Tekken, Tekken 2, Tekken 3, Bloody Roar, Street Fighter EX, and all these other games on it. And the one I had was specific, the front end with the GUI, because of course I wasn't doing no command line stuff. I wasn't messing with that at the time. I mean, I was doing C# at TSU, but I'm like, I didn't know anything about the command line stuff. So any emulator I was using, I'm trying to get the GUI. I'm on front end. I'm not trying to do no mess. But you did have to go and find certain files to insert because they would never give you all the proper files. I'm assuming that's for legal purposes. So, you could always just search like the bin, whatever the bin was, and find it, then insert it into the ROM file, and you could play it. And of course, after 24 hours, I always deleted it. I never kept it past 24 hours. Don't even know what happened to the thing. So anyway, yeah, that's my first encounter with it. So, I will play it that way. And for some reason, I will always play, this was probably maybe 2005, my sophomore year or whatever. Shout out to Nash Grissom because he probably was playing along with me because we were both trying to figure out different emulators and stuff. So, yeah, man, check out Break 2 for some good mods and stuff. Nash Grissom, the guy. But yeah, so I was there doing that, and that's how I would play it. So this is going to tie into the music because every time I would play that, as well as Star Gladiator or like Plasma Sword, I will always play like Return to Forever, which is the jazz rock fusion group, which is kind of fitting because, like I said before, these soundtracks are kind of like jazz rock fusion to a degree. Very much so in that vein. So I would always play that, not really making the connection, consciously, maybe subconsciously, but making it now. So, it was kind of fitting that I would play that sort of music while, playing the game. But getting into the music, once again, we have the sampling masters of Namco working on this. And we got the returning Dream Team here, Takayuki Aihara, Shinji Hosoe, and Miss Ayako Saso doing the thing. Once again, sampling masters from Namco, like I said, they've done Ridge Racer, they've done Tekken games, they've done a lot of stuff. If you look them up on VGMDB, a VGM database, you can go see their whole discography. Not too shabby, as Zex would say in the first episode of Gundam. He got two with one shot, not too shabby. Anyway, we're not gonna go there. So we might as well just go ahead and get into this music. I wanted to go ahead and get through that. This personal notes about the music. Like I spent a lot of time, 2005, skateboarding to band practice, skateboarding to class, and this was like a mainstay in my CD player because this was before I had got my hands on the iPod, or MP3 player. So I was still rocking the CD player. Stuff was skipping. I would have my cymbal bag on my shoulder, and I'd be jamming out to that on my skateboard, trying not to make too much bumps. And I probably went through so many CD players because, the skipping and stuff and kind of throwing a laser off in motion, but it's all good. So this stayed in rotation with me, walking to class, skateboarding to class, doing whatever I did. So I always, would have this music on hand. Even back home, like in the summer, I'd be skating downtown to it, get on the bus, all this type of stuff. So this has a special place with me. So this is why we're doing it. Great soundtrack. Very imaginative. I'm a fan of things that make me think, that take me outside of the norm, that take me outside into a different realm. And that's what this does. This complements the floaty gameplay and the goofiness of it. But I think this one is it's a little more serious this time. And there's no character specific stages for this one. It's just all kind of just different locations. You probably could attribute some because they probably would be on that level all the time, but yeah. Anyway, let's get into the first 4 tracks. So we're going to do the character select joint, then we're going to do Irene. So we're doing the arcade and the arrange. So we're going to play both of those and run them through. Then next will be Digital Ignition into Amusemative Crime. So We about to go ahead and get it in. Master at work that you witness sin. Let's go ahead and run through the tracks. Your main man, Spilly D. Thrillem, will be right back. Here we go. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, and we back on the attack at the Funk and the Flavor and the Sack. Now it's time to talk about these tracks. Yo, well, we started with the character select, then we went into Irene, then it was digital ignition into, I'm losing it here, amusement crime. That's a hard one to say. 2. It's number 2 because it's a sequel to the first one. And this may be the only character specific thing because amusement of crime was associated with Skullomania. So, starting with the character select theme, it automatically seems more serious than the last one. Like, it has a direction, it seems like there are some stakes here. The first one seemed like, okay, man, these characters gonna have a good time, kind of goofy and stuff, but this one's a little more subdued, I guess. And it seems like there's more of the intent to fight with this one. Like maybe they were taking EX2 a little bit more seriously. Even though when we look at some of the characters, we're like, nah, probably not. But at least the tone of the music seems that way. So it has a very kind of takeoff vibe to it. Like you're about to take off on some adventure, or you're about to go to outer space or something. T-minus 10 seconds and counting type liftoff deal sounding to it, like something beyond. But a lot of these tracks had that sound to it. I don't know, it seemed to be a kind of spaced out, as you will see literally in some of these levels we're going to talk about. It also kind of has like this Power Rangers, this sound, if you get the Power Rangers, kind of, I don't know what you would call that. Is it a run? It's like a guitar run. It has that same kind of thing in it, like leading up to something, building up to this explosion, or to a go-go Power Ranger. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to move into the next joint. I believe the next joint was Irene. Now, the arcade one, it just seems like a, I don't know, it seemed like your standard video gaming type arcade track at the time. I mean, it does have an interesting vibe to it, like this kind of innocent woman kind of vibe to it with the flute. I kind of like that a lot. But it's just like, I feel like to get into more of this track and probably what they were trying to accomplish, I had to talk about the arrange. Like I said, the arcade seems like they did as much as they could, but the arrange seems like all the stuff that they could fit, they actually put in. Like maybe they composed the arrange first, and then they said we gotta cut it down for the arcade version. I don't know. Or maybe it was like, okay, this is what I could do, and then they thought about it afterwards. Hey man, we can add more to that. I don't know. It could be either one, or it could be both. Who knows? So there's a quantum world now, so everything is everything. Anyway, so yeah, the arranged version has a lot more flavor to it of what they were trying to get across, because the level it's the statue. You're fighting on the Statue of Liberty, basically. And for those of you that don't know the history of the Statue of Liberty, it's supposed to be a gift from France. And if I will, I'm going to go there. Hot take. It was actually supposed to be a gift for the liberation of the black slaves from France for their emancipation. So it was actually supposed to be a black woman, but you know how things go in this country, so they're not going to go there, and it ended up being what it is. Some even speculate that it's a statue of the god Attis, but that's for you to go research or whatever. I'm just saying what speculations are. Just some interesting hot takes. We're going to do that. So anyway, it's a gift from France, so that's why we kind of have that accordion sound there that, in the arranged version. I guess they could actually get the actual accordion, since you got the CD quality, so we can actually get that in there, or the best approximation on Red Book Audio, whatever you want to call it. So we have that, and then we have like this kind of, I want to call it a Yellow Magic Orchestra keyboard. So if you ever heard their songs, I can't even describe the sound. You got to listen to it. The best one I can say is maybe Tong Poo. That's probably a good one to hear the kind of sound I'm talking about, that keyboard. but you hear it. You hear it. You hear it. So we got like this kind of cross genre here of Yellow Magic Orchestra sounding, you know, early electronic music. Then we got the accordion for the French feel. Then there's also like the snare is a reggaeton snare. The pop, 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 pop. It has that kind of reggaeton sound snare, but at the same time, the other percussion has a samba feel to it. So it's like this weird hodgepodge, which would classify it as fusion, like I said, of these, you know, sounds coming together. So, you know, that's Irene. It's pretty dope. Listen to it again if you want to hear all these different things. So Digital Ignition is interesting because it takes place on a space shuttle level. So I guess you're at Cape Canaveral or maybe even Huntsville. I'm going to say Cape Canaveral. It looks like you're witnessing a space shuttle launch in progress, and digital ignition because you are igniting flames to take off or whatever. You are igniting the spaceship. I don't know. Seems about right. You know what I'm saying? Seems about right. So this arcade version, in the beginning, has a striking similarity. If you ever heard the Sailor Moon Japanese soundtrack of I No Senshi. I think it's I No Senshi. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. Damn, I'm trying to remember. Now I'm gonna be myself. It's either I No Senshi or I think it is I No Senshi. Yeah, it is I No Senshi. So it's, if you remember, if you ever seen the Japanese version of Sailor Moon, when I think Mercury is supposed to be leaving Tokyo to study abroad in like England or something, and like the Sailor Scouts, they're getting frozen up in this freezer and shit, and then she's like, you know what, don't want to do it. And then Darien, or Mamoru for the Japanese specific, is driving her back in this Corvette. He had a red Corvette, so he's driving her back, and you see the Tokyo lights and stuff. They leave the airport, they're going back, and I feel like the beginning of this song has that feel to it, and that's like way out, nobody cares. I don't even really give a shit, but yeah, just for, you know, whatever. But yeah, that beginning has those chimes, those bells that you hear in Sailor Moon, so that was interesting. And it has this weird science vibe to it. And the bass line, you know, well, not weird science, but you know, it's a song. It's like, she blinded me with science. You probably heard it before. It has that to it as well, but then at the same time, the bass line sounds like Easy Lover, Phil Collins. You know, do 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 do. It has that feel. So these songs have this weird like amalgamation of all these different sounds that probably shouldn't even mesh, but they work. And that's what's so great about the soundtrack. And that's why I kind of classify it, because there's jazz elements in these things as well as it's jazz rock fusion. Like it has that feel to it, because some of these parts are people like kind of soloing and going in kind of a very, you know, jazz rock fusion way. You know, the Cassiopeia or Headhunters, or be your Return to Forever, your Tony Williams and all this stuff. It has that feel to it, but, you know, updated for 98. And even with the arranged version, the bass line is more apparent, you know, I feel like, in the arranged version. I don't get the I No Senshi vibe from the arranged version. When it's coming in, I think that the tone is a little bit different, but you know, the same song overall. Great guitars, great keyboard work. It's like some, like, you know, maybe Bill Nye or Vinkman is talking to you while the song is playing. If y'all remember Vinkman's Lab or Bill Nye the Science Guy, those type of shows back in the 90s. Anyway, we're gonna move into what would we do next? Amusement of Crime, which is very interesting because the last Amusement of Crime is all over the place. I don't know if I played that from EX1, but I might have. This is very subdued, it's very spy-esque. You know what I'm saying? Like, this joint, it's a total departure from what we know Skullomania. This bombastic dude with this like skeleton costume with the scarf. He's diving into you, he's breaking, he's doing head spins and all over the place. You know, this is really just out there Kamen Rider kind of type of character. But then we get Amusement of Crime 2, and it's just like laid back. and it's almost like an '80s kind of, you know, Shaka Khan type song, something, maybe Shaka Khan or some type of SOS, or you know what I'm saying, just be good to me kind of vibe to it. You feel me? We got that the arcade version does, and I really like the snares in the arcade version to remind me of like some of the marching snare parts. They even got a kick, remind me of Pat and Terrence back at TSU, my TSU days, man. Shout out to them guys. So yeah, it's got cool drums, man. The beat is nice. It's a good popping song actually. So like you want to do some boogaloo or some popping, I would recommend that. You know, if anybody want to do like a different type of, you know, video, like that's what I do. VGM Arcade, you know, actually plug that real quick. Street dancing and video game music combined. So yeah, it'd be a good popping song. You know, if you want to practice something different. The arranged version does have more of a spy vibe to it. It's like this sleek, and I think like it'll fit more for Sharon, the kind of assassin character with the black outfit and the gun. Like this doesn't seem to be, maybe, you know, Skullomania, like, look, I'm tired of doing all this diving around. This would have sounded like when he go home and he get off work and he take his scarf off and just chill and start playing video games. You know, I don't know. Or his lady come over, you know, Skulloladia. That didn't make any sense. But yeah, it's got this cool vibe to it, man. It's got this, I don't know, I want to say maybe a Vogue bass line to it. Boom, boom, boom. It's nice and strong, and it's got the drums backing it up. Real dope. And I like the quiet, mechanical nature of it. It's almost like, I don't know, like some type of, if you remember Star Wars Episode 1, when they're fighting Darth Maul at the end, and they get separated by those energy force fields. That's what that quiet part with the reminds me of when it drops out. It's like those energy fields like showing up, like you in some type of weird, you trying to steal something out of a museum, and like there's these force fields coming up. Yeah, there you go, like a cat burglar or like a spy or something. So yeah. Anyway, let's move on because we done took way too long with that. You know, let's see here. We got 4 more tracks on the way. Let me pause real quick. Thank God for that. We're going to move into 3 more tracks, starting with The Passage of Lotus. Then we're going to move into Phantom Bomb. And then we're going to move into 3 Tree. Now this is going to be a more chill lineup, so you know, because we got kind of hype in the beginning, but we'll get right back hype again. But this is the smooth hour. So like I said, once again, Phantom Bomb will follow Passage of Lotus, and bringing up the rear will be Retreat. Don't miss me, because we'll be right back, but only after we play each track. With Amen, Spilly D Thrillem. Here go the tracks. I hope that you feel it. And we're back from them last 3 tracks. Let's see what we got to talk about to bring some opinions, maybe some facts. It's your main man, Spilly, Thrillem, back again. So, we were coming in from Passage of Lotus, going into the Phantom Bomb, and closing out with that, what you call that? Damn it, 3 tree. Okay, now, what I like about Passage of Lotus is multiple things here. It seems like a very final boss type level, man. You know, I think you're like fighting at some temple, you know, with these very humongous statues, and I think it's like a fire happening or something, if I'm not mistaken. I could be, but I mean, automatically, you know, the stakes are high when you hear this. The percussion is dope because it has like a marching cadence kind of groove to it, you know what I'm saying? Like, it almost got like this marching cadence groove to it, like, hey, you are going to get into a fight. Like, as you walking up, this is what's happening. You about to walk into a fight. So it's pretty dope in that sense. The synth here reminds me a lot of, once again, the Shaka Khan song. Like, you know, I guess that's just probably the synths that they were using back in the 80s funk, you know, late 80s electro funk and all that type of stuff. So it does remind me of that, like, kind of that feel, you know, like maybe through the fire, or maybe it's either that or, like, you know, the Denise Williams Black Butterfly, something like that. If you hear those songs like any of the 80s funk, you'll notice it immediately what I'm talking about. So yeah, it has that feel to it. And the funny thing about this song was, at the time, I don't know, the moment that summer I was watching like Breaking and Breaking 2 like every day for some reason. I don't know why. But I will always imagine the scenes of those movies, and like especially Breaking 2, like the opening sequence with that song to it. Like, you know, watching the guys do guitar rock and stuff. And it automatically changed the feeling of it for me. You know, I'm like, damn, that's dope. So I always associated that with Breaking 2, and associate that with skateboarding across Belle Isle back home in the D. And like realizing how far I had gotten away from where the car was and how far I was going to have to go to get back. And I realized the depth of the situation when I got like to these 2 trees, and I was like, oh shit, I'm far as hell from the car. So yeah, it was kind of like almost like I was trying to beat the clock to get back to the car. So that song kind of came on when that happened. So I always associated with that moment as well. Moving in next to, I believe, was the Phantom Bomb. Now this is more of a chill song. It sounds like the song that you would listen to like right after the sunset, or right, you know, at the tail end of it. You know, when the dark, you know, you can see like the darkness or whatever, kind of in between point, you know, on a hot day, you just chilling, like drinking some lemonade on the porch or something, just kicking it. And it has like this very, like, you are drained from that sun or that activity or that heat, and that it has that feeling of that tiredness, I feel, that you would feel like after being out in the heat for so long. I feel like it captures that very well. But it also has a Midnight in Tunisia vibe to it. With that bass line, man, it kind of has that feel to me. It reminds me of Midnight in Tunisia. I don't know why, but I get that sense from it as well. The guitars in here are dope. Love them, especially how they can fit such a shredding solo in a subdued, you know, like chill song. Like, how did you do that? I don't know. They did it though. They made it work. Once again, like I said, once again, proving the theory that this is jazz rock fusion, you know? But like we've discussed on many shows before, a lot of video game music is inspired by jazz rock fusion, as well as, you know, the electronic music, the early electronic music like Yellow Magic Orchestra, Kraftwerk, but specifically Japanese compositions. I'm going to go with Yellow Magic Orchestra, jazz rock fusion. And, you know, of course, a lot of influences, but I could tell those are some of the biggest ones, because you had cats like Cassiopeia and YMO in Japan, who I feel like Cassiopeia was inspired by the cats, you know, Turner Forever, Tony Williams, the Weather Report, all these guys. They call it jam band, but it's really jazz rock fusion. But anything to take it away from the originators, the name will be changed. But we're not gonna go there. So yeah, I like that track. It's pretty dope. You usually fight Delsim on this level. Well, every time I played it, I fought him on this level. And it's an airport. So it's interesting that it's a kind of an airport. So it's like, is this the prequel to Strange Sunset? Like, or is this, I mean, the sequel to Strange Sunset? Like, is this what happens after the Strange Sunset? You get the Phantom Bomb? I don't know. But it does seem like a tamed, more tamed, like, successor to Strange Sunset. Especially with the jazz vibe once again, you know. And then going into Three Tree next. Three Tree is a very chill song because it kind of has the shakuhachi behind it. The use of the bells is dope. But the bass line is very much like I don't know the name of the group. It's a techno song called Satellite. And they used to play it a lot Friday night back in Detroit because they used to play like the techno fast music, which they call ghetto tech, where they would take the toner and they would push it down to speed the tracks up so the guys could do the jit, you know, Detroit footwear style called the jit. And a lot of guys, they, you know, in the 90s, they was jitting to what you would call ghetto tech, which they would speed it up, and they have it in Detroit, have it in Chicago, and then there's like a Baltimore sound or whatever that's supposed to be similar to it. But anyway, this kind of has that feel to it as well. But that song, I believe, is called, techno song called Satellites. And the guy's saying satellites flying over the earth. I can't remember what group it is, and I should. I'm beating myself up about it. But it has the same bass line. And the beat is pretty much that. You know, you could definitely get to it. So once again, that'd probably be a good song to get to if you're trying to get to something different. Like I said, I find these type of things in these songs all the time. But what I like about the arranged version is it has all of that, but the use of the piano, like, it shouldn't go, but it does. It has this very dope solo. Like, I feel like it shouldn't fit, but it meshes so well, just like every other track in this soundtrack. You know what I'm saying? It just seems to work really well. With that being said, we're gonna go into the break. Not long will it take. Too real to be fake. But for the sake of getting things done, we'll be back with more fun. It's your main man, Spidey Rock, aka Spilly, Thrillem, aka Rick Chan, more fun for you to withstand. We'll be right back with more tracks. Let you know the bit. Alright. See you soon. What it is. Handle biz, have no biz. It's your main man, Spidey Rock, aka Rick Chan, aka Spilly, Thrillem. You may not have heard, but you about to feel them on the break. The WMOF, the bit. Talking about that Street Fighter EX2 and shit. Yeah, man, we were doing the Street Fighter EX2 episode finally. It's taking me a minute to get to it, but I'm here. Hopefully you like what you hear with the new flavor in your ears. Is it dope? I hope. Let me know. Anyway, so I don't really know what's going on next, but I can point you in the direction of Dr. Funk at Number Theory 84 on Twitch. He's doing his thing, playing Crash Bandicoot 4. He's streaming that, so if you want to catch that, you haven't been able to get out and play it, and you want to see if it's worth the purchase, definitely go over to Number Theory 84 and check out. Meanwhile, on Funkatron's Dr. Funk, you know, doing his thing, Number Theory 84 at Twitch. He's been streaming. He also streamed Final Fight. This guy, he's a streaming machine, so check out what he's got going. You can always find DZ somewhere on social media doing his thing, showing off his stuff at Destructo Disc on what you call that, Instagram. Yeah, check him out, Destructo Disc on Instagram. DZ does it.
You know what I'm saying? He's doing his thing over there and, doing stuff on Facebook. Speaking of which, check the Meanwhile Funkatron Facebook. We got, previous episodes. We got house mixes. We got, all types of stuff you can check out. If you missed anything before, go over there and check it out and give it a shout. Say some stuff. Leave some comments or whatever. Speak your piece. We'll be updating it soon. Also, if you want to, follow the Meanwhile Funkatron Instagram. I know I need to update that, but it is what it is. I will. But, hey, go check us out on those platforms. Go check out DZ. Go check out Dr. Funk, number Theory 84. Yeah, number Theory 84, that's an NUMBA, number Theory 84. And then also check out, we haven't heard much from Creeper, Race Canyon. I don't know what that guy's doing. I haven't heard from him in a long time. So we will probably have to see what's going on with him to touch bases. Other than that, we're going to be keeping it locked with this WMOF bit. I'm thinking about doing Shenmue next. For some reason, I'm thinking about doing Shenmue. So we may do Shenmue next for WMOF the bit. As far as the Meanwhile Funkatron flagship show, I'm not sure. I have to get with the brothers and see, how they feeling. If we got to bring back the run and record yours, Yeah, so with that being said, I'm about to go ahead and we about to go right into the tracks. As we come back, bring it back, come rewind. We are back on this VGM grind. Alright. Don't sweat the technique. Get with the fresh geeks. Learn to record yours. Bring the funky flavor to yours. Peace.
What's up, everybody? Quick addendum to what I was saying before. That track that sounds similar to 3 Tree with that bass line is actually called Satellite from Doppler Effect with a K. So that's Doppler EFFEKT. Homebrew in Detroit. That's a Homebrew Detroit track right there. So that is Detroit Techno, as we said. So that's dope. Just want to make that connection. And then also, before I forget, The Legend of Renegade on YouTube is a great remixer, man. He remixes tracks with Sega Genesis font, Super Nintendo font, also CPS2 font, different fonts that you wouldn't find a track in. Normally, he remixes that way, and we'll be closing out of Digital Ignition, the SNES remix by The Legend of Renegade. Check out that YouTube page, check out that Patreon. Alright, back to the tracks. Peace.
here we go. We are back from the last track with the tracks that you respect. Now that we finished, we got some commentary on deck until we move back into the next three. So we talked about Fake World, Flash Train, and Before Moon. So we're gonna do this shit again because the damn shit got messed up. So Fake World is interesting because you are literally fighting on a level. I don't know if it's a museum or what. It could be the Smithsonian or maybe it's some museum they have in Japan. I'm not sure. Where they have life-size models of dinosaurs. Now I don't know if they're supposed to be actual dinosaurs or whatever, but there's a big old Stegosaurus, T-Rex, Triceratops in the background. All these things. You're like, why the hell is there dinosaurs in a Street Fighter level? Makes no sense, but like I said, none of these levels had anything to do with a particular character. So, yeah, I guess they was like, look, this is what we want to do. My kids said they wanted the dinosaurs in the video game, so I'm putting them in the damn level. You never know. So anyway, as I said in the recording before that you didn't hear, that you're probably not going to hear, this song has the Clyde Stubblefield JBE experience sounding drum pattern. You know, if you know the song. I got that feeling, baby, baby, I got that feeling. It has that feel to it. So I found that quite interesting, but once again, not surprised because, like I said, they are pulling from all of those sources for these games, and you know that's just what's happening. So you got that juxtaposed with this kind of sitar. I don't know if it's a sitar kind of sound. That's an arranged version, but this kind of drum and bass feel. Like I said, I like the snares that they use in the arcade version. I don't know whatever it is, but it's a very strong snare sound they have, and it really gives a good pop to the track. And I'm getting it mixed up with Flash Train in my head right now, so excuse me as I'm trying to get my clarity together. But yeah, so going into the arranged version, it has like a sitar, or I want to say it's kind of like a sitar sound juxtaposed with these kind of chimes, and then you know also the guitar that goes in there, electric guitar as well, you know, soloing, and then like I said, this James Brown type feel to it. It all culminates to make this very unique sounding track, and it sounds really dope. And I don't know, I don't get dinosaurs from this at all for some reason, but hey, it is what it is. A lot of these songs, like I said, they had this feel like you could do the Detroit Jit style too if you were dancing to them. And like, man, I'm thinking about doing a video, you know, because I haven't done the VGM arcade stuff in a long time. I'm thinking about tapping in this soundtrack to bring something out. I think maybe it would work. Anyway, so yeah, I had a lot more interesting shit to say about this the last time, but it deleted, so. I think the shredding guitar kind of like this in the distance thing, like it's there, but it's not there. And it kind of comes in alongside that, like I said, it's this modulated, arpeggiated, like dial-up sound, almost as if you're trying to, I don't know, log in a AOL or some shit that's there as well. And I guess maybe that's indicative of the time, you know, the internet's pretty popular around this time. And a lot of people are getting it in their home, so maybe they got it from that. Who knows? Anyway, moving into the next track, Flash Train. It's a lot more mechanical sounding, which it's supposed to be because, you know, I think this is probably, you know, not Red Book audio or anything like that. So they have to use the tech of the actual board, you know, the ZN2 board. So it's probably pulling from that. And it's not a bad sound. It's a great sound. And like I said, it's a distinctive sound that I like a lot because it just gives you this feeling, you know, of like, you know, being in an arcade, like, you know what it's like hearing that type of stuff. And it just has this nostalgic sound to it. Now, when it comes to the arranged version, this is a really dope version because I feel like it's a little bit more moving parts, a little more varied in the sounds and the dynamics, and you know the changes within the song. Like for instance, you still have that arpeggiated type sound, but it's a little bit toned down in this one. And then also, the synthesizer is used really well, so they're more soft. It's softer. It's not as sharp as in the original one, which is fine too. It's fine, but then it's more subdued. The drums here really get to kind of vary the patterns, really bring in other percussion instruments. Like I really like I said before, the use of the ride cymbal in this one gives this kind of metal sound to what would be the train level, you know what I'm saying? It's the trains on the track, you got metal, you got wood, you know what I'm saying? So it gives that kind of feel to it. And I really like that metal sound, using the ride cymbals and the different patterns and how the dynamics used in here gives you a more dramatic feel that I feel suits more of a fighting game than a lot of the other tracks do. Because it feels like something's actually on the line here. So, and that's the type of music you usually hear in fighting games, and that's the type that usually gets you going when you're fighting. You know, it's like, okay, this is it. And I feel like the next track really embodies that a lot. But what I want to say. So, what's interesting about this is that maybe the person that made this song, so it's called Flash Train, they probably thought of it while they were on probably the bullet train. You know, they had the bullet train in Japan, supposed to get you so far in so many minutes, you know, real quickly and stuff like that. And if you're not familiar with it, if you ever seen the last Wolverine movie, still a train that he's fighting on or whatever, if I have to give a area for context. So maybe, you know, it has that, maybe that's where they got it from. Because when you listen to the first one, it sounds like the tracks of a train. Like even the People Mover back home in Detroit has that kind of sound to it. It's not as fast as the bullet train, but it has that train sound. So I think that the arcade version would suit the bullet train a lot more because it just sounds like you zipping by landscapes and, you know, roads and horizons and stuff like that. And even the second one has that kind of, you know, feel of traveling, like going beyond somewhere, you know, faster than you normally would. And, you know, I really dig that about that track. And, like, also, like I said, I used to listen to this skate to class or skating to practice, you know, back in my TSU days. I had my cymbal bag with my radio, skateboarding, you know, through traffic and shit. Because, you know, as soon as I get done with practice, you know, I'm going to go when I'm on break. That's my time to break and everything. So I remember skating through traffic, listening to this, just feeling like the concrete surfer, or like I'm a Gundam pilot or something like that. Because I used to think about all the time, this reminded me of like a Gundam, like engaging in a space battle, right? You know, I always think about Hiro, man, he's pulling into like a blockade, you know, trying to get to the colonies, and it's like all these like Leos and Tauruses coming at him, and he's just dismantling them in the way that Hiro does. Of course, he has to do it with the beam saber because he doesn't want to use the Buster rifle because then he can endanger the colonies, and we don't want to do that. That's what we're fighting for. That was a very nerdy moment, I know, but hey, that's what this show is about. So, yeah, so that's pretty dope. Moving into the next track here, I believe that was what's the name of that joint? Before Moon, which is a very interesting track to me because this takes place. Sorry, I had to see the time. This takes place on a dusty field before the sunset. Well, I mean, like in front of the sunset. Like it's like sunset in the background. You're in this dusty field, dust kicking up, and you are fighting Sagat. And it's very interesting that he is on the sunset, because usually when you fight him, you're fighting him at the sunset, which is very interesting because you associate Ryu with the sunrise, because Japan is the land of the rising sun, right? When you think about that, then you think about Sagat. That does sound kind of similar to Set or whatever, so sunset. But when you think about that, you gotta think about Heru and Set. because if you go back to the Kemetic stuff, Heru, that word in Metal Netor means day, and you usually associate that with the sunrise. Set is not usually associate that with the sunset. So we had these type of metaphysical things playing out even in the game that I wanted to kind of bring attention to real quick, because you see that happening. So, you know, they say nothing's new under the sun. Wink, wink, get it? But yeah, I just wanted to drop that because that's a connection that I wanted to make real quick. And it seems that him and Ryu, that is one of the most heated battles, if not the most heated battle of Street Fighter. I mean, yeah, we all know about Ryu and Akuma and all this stuff, but you show up for Ryu and Sagat. Come on. You don't get more vicious than that. That's the original. Before we even knew who the hell Goki or Akuma was. It was, it's Ryu and Sagat. You know what I'm saying? And it's even interesting that you could associate him with Sagat, because he kills Dan's father, who's like kind of an all-star figure. We don't know who he is, and in Dan's story, he's trying to avenge his father. It's textbook Heru story. But anyway, just had to touch on that a little bit because I felt like it was necessary, and I felt like it works, and there's some interesting stuff to kind of bring more of a rounded view of what I think about when I'm listening to this music. So yeah, it's a very dope track. I really love this one a lot. This also comes in with the Clyde Stubblefield JBE, James Brown Experience, drum pattern, the Clyde Stubblefield funky drummer, because like I said before, Clyde Stubblefield is the funky drummer. And James Brown is one of the most sampled artists there is, if not the most sampled artist. You hear his voice, you hear the song sampled in all of hip hop, so it's DNA of hip hop. And so therefore, the drum and bass sound, which is seen to be prevalent during this time, 97, 98, 99, going into 2000, you watch any movie like Matrix or whatever, and Propeller Heads and Tekken 3, all the stuff, you will hear this pattern. And the drum and bass was nothing but breaks being sped up. Breaks from the 70s that these guys, they were cutting, Cool Herc and Grandmaster Flash and all these guys, right? In the Bronx, these guys were cutting these breaks 30 years ago, 20 years ago. And what happened was, as often does, someone comes later, they take it, they repackage it, and not saying it's not good, but they repackage it and it's not necessarily that, but then they repackage it and then it becomes quote unquote something else, which it really wasn't. You could hear the breaks clear as day, but I like drum and bass, so I'm not gonna hate on it. But anyway, so yeah, the DNA of the hip hop breaks, the DNA of James Brown. You know what I'm saying? And Clyde Stubblefield, gotta give props to Clyde Stubblefield because he was the drummer, and a lot of those breaks come from the drums. Clyde Stubblefield, I shade to the funky drummer. But anyway, back to the point. So it starts off with that Clyde Stubblefield pattern, that boom, spots, do spots, do pots, do pots, that kind of pattern right there. So it has a variation of that, then it goes right into the actual track. And it has this very nice guitar riff. Boom, do 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 do. It's very catchy, very funky, man. You feel like some shit finna go down. You're like, yeah, I could dig that. And then that synth comes in and it gives you the feel of the sun. You know what I'm saying? It's very high pitched, and it's like, it sounds like the last ditch effort of the sun to drop this heat on you before it makes its descent. Right? And even when you get to the break, where it's kind of like the drums kind of drop out and they make their little, saying here and there in the middle, and they like have little phrases, that kind of bridge or dramatic part, it still sounds like you just got done with like a tiring ass day and you're leaving like from wherever you were. Like usually when I train on Saturday, at the park or wherever I'm doing, usually leaving around this time. So I feel that, like when I'm leaving, I feel, what's the name of this joint? Before Moon, because you see it, you're like, damn, I just had a long ass day. And you are fighting there, and it gives you this feeling of it gives you a motivational type feeling as well. Like it's like you might be able to chill, but not really. Like you still got work to do, but it has the feel of the shit's on the line. Like, this is the fight. Like, you gotta fight the boss next, but he ain't as important as this fight. You gotta fight the boss because you gotta save the world. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't, this motherfucker's gonna blow everything up. But in this fight, it's like, you gotta fight because you gotta be able to go back home. Because if you go back home, all your boys, they gon' rank on you because you ain't do what you was supposed to do. Like, man, you let the cat beat your ass again, man. You whack. You know, this is personal. The other stuff, that ain't personal. You just like, hey, if I lose in the world, we all going anyway. But shit, if I lose this fight, I gotta go back home, and I might not be able to get back to my house. So yeah, that's why I really like, you know, the Before Moon, because it has that very, this is personal, this is the fight that really means something. You know what I'm saying? Man, fuck the world. I gotta go back home. Whatever happened with M. Bison, whoever this guy is, it is what it is, bro. You know. So yeah, I really dig the Before Moon in the stakes, because I feel like there's a couple songs in this game that have that, but not all of them. And this is one of those songs that raise the stakes. Like, no, this means something. And that's what you would normally find in fighting games. But this is not your normal fighting game. As we said, EX is a very eccentric and unorthodox series with the Street Fighter name, which is why I like it so much. But we are going to move in to the final block of tracks, and I believe those three are the Infinite Earth, dun, 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 White Field, and Green Shower. We got a lot of colors, so I'm gonna do my Umar Johnson. The last three tracks that we're going to go in is the Infinite Earth, White Field, and Green Shower. The last three tracks that we're going to go in is Infinite Earth, White Field, and Green Shower. The last three tracks that we're going to go in is Infinite Earth, White Field, and Green Showers. I had to mess with y'all real quick because I'm kind of on the edge. I don't know what the hell going on. It's my day off. I can't. It's hot as hell here, I'm going to tell you. But anyway, yeah, we're going to go into those three tracks. Then we'll be back. We're going to talk a little more smack, and then we're going to have to get up at it. You know what I'm saying? I can't keep you guys forever. Meanwhile, on Funkatron, tell your cousin, tell your mom to run and record yours back in the Funkin' flavor to you and yours. Here we go. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are back once again with the master at work that you wouldn't send. Bringing us in was Infinite Earth, Whitefield, and the Green Shower. Alright, let's get into this, the final 3 tracks, and then we're gonna have to close it down. Well, Infinite Earth, what can I say about that track? That is a very, I don't know, it's an interesting track. It definitely fits the name that it has, right? I feel like this takes place on the space shuttle level, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Could be another one. It could be another one. But this does have that feel of it, you know, Infinite Earth. It sounds like that. It sounds like To Infinity and Beyond, sound of that shit. It has this French horn approximation that I think is really interesting, and it's a couple songs that use this French horn approximation that I forgot to kind of bring up. But yeah, it sounds like a French horn. It's kind of taking the melody with these chimes and these I don't want to say sleigh bells, but it's like these chimes, I guess. I call it like Sailor Moon bells because it sounds like the bells that's in the Sailor Moon music. Have you ever heard Sailor Moon before? So I will refer to those as Sailor Moon bells, and that's what we're going to call it throughout whatever episode we're going to use. This is going to be a Meanwhile Funkatron mainstay. The Sailor Moon bells. It's juxtaposed with that as well as, of course, a nice driving guitar and all that. And it fits quite well, you know what I'm saying? It does its thing. It gives the feeling of not a Street Fighter game. Definitely not from Street Fighter game. I don't know, maybe Star Fox or, you know, the ending to a Sonic game. Maybe not the ending to a Sonic game, but I don't know. It doesn't seem to fit in a fighting game to me, but somehow they make it work. But I guess it would be in the same vein as kind of like Light Guardian, maybe, but just a little more out there. So yeah, this is a dope song. I really like it a lot. I don't know what else to say about the shit because it is what it is. I remember listening to this joint and skating to this joint as well. Like, I used to skateboard everywhere, even back home. So I'd be, you know, skating at Belle Isle or whatever, and this song would come on, and then you're looking across the river to see how far it goes, how far around it goes, and you know what I'm saying, looking across to Canada and all the stuff. So you kind of get this feel of this infinite space, right? So yeah, I always kind of would, you know, listen to this, you know, skating either over the bridge from Belle Isle or kind of skating around the park because I used to row boats out there, you know what I'm saying, a long time ago. So of course the song meant something to me. Anyway, Whitefield. Now this song is dope because it's like, I'm trying to think of snow. Does snow really sound like that? You know what I mean? Like the first one, like I said, I don't know. I would not picture it as a level for snow. It almost sounds like an old like 90s car commercial or some shit. Or somebody trying to tell you about a sale at Kohl's or Sears or wherever store you're going to. I don't even know if freaking Kohl's still exists. But yeah, it sounds kind of like that. Like somebody trying to make you this deal of a lifetime on like a 1998 Toyota Camry or some shit. I don't know, it has this motivational feel to it, you know what I'm saying? It has that, once again, that arpeggiated dial-up, whatever that is, coming through. I don't know what the hell that is. I gotta figure out what that sound was, but they was loving the hell out of that for that soundtrack. And of course I like the breakdown, but it gets a little better with the arranged version. Like I said, I love the arcade version a lot for its own specific reasons and its own specific tones and sounds that just do something for me. I can't explain what it is. But we get more of the feel, once again, of the locale with the arranged version from the PS1. Because this starts off like snow. You know what I'm saying? Like when you first get out into the snow, you're kind of walking around. You know what I'm saying? It has that Denise Williams, Black Butterfly keyboard behind it, that sound that gives you the feeling of like you can get water or you can either get snow, and I got snow from this. with the ride cymbals like using very effectively, because now your ride cymbal can evoke the feeling of falling snow, that kind of like trickling down snow. So it's cool how they use it scarcely throughout the song to make you get the feeling of falling snow. But yeah, this definitely sounds like snow. Like if I had to pick a level for that, and it's very hype snow. They sound like when you play in the snow, you wee before you get cold as hell. Because I used to play in the snow, you know, being a Michigan baby. But you only play in the snow for so long before you take your butt back in the house because it's cold. But it's when it's fun, when you're throwing the snow in the air, you jumping back and turning around, and it's taking all this time to get out the snow. And I feel like this song gives me that feel. But then it's like, it kind of slows down to this break. That it's like you gotta kind of go back in the house and warm up whatever, you keep some Campbell soup or whatever, then it kicks back up again. But I remember specifically being a kid, I forget what it was, and you know, I was only a child, so I remember it was snowing real bad one year, and I just went outside. My mom threw me outside, go outside. I don't know why. She's like, go ahead, go outside. I guess because I wanted to. You know, you put you in that unwieldy snowsuit that you can barely move in. For like, you got the first Iron Man suit on when he had that big old suit on and shit, and he could barely move in it. And they just throw you, go outside, you start playing this thing. This is dope, man. You know, I found this little thing. I'm exploring. I'm jumping in the snow, and I'm all over the place, and just having a good old time. My mom said, "Hey, coming out." And I remember, as soon as I got out that suit, I like took a bath or something, and I was supposed to eat, and I laid down, and I just fell asleep. You know, I fell asleep. Next thing I know, I'm waking up in school. But that's what that song kind of reminds me of, you know, it's personally. You know, and then also I remember like when we first started doing the show back in 2016. You know, me and Funkatron, we were doing the playthroughs and stuff. You know, me, Dr. Funk, you know, VGM on them, and we were playing Street Fighter EX2, and that was a big song. So much so that it stuck with me when I was leaving from the original Funkatron Studios, which has since been vacated. But yeah, I remember leaving from there and be like, oh, this is the song. And at the time, I was living in a really cool place that I loved a lot. And around that very same time, we had like a really bad snowstorm here. So, yeah, it all was kind of fitting that I was really into that song. I think we did like an X-Men playthrough. I put it at the end of the X-Men playthrough. So, that was cool, you know, to be able to do that. And like relive this song, whatever, is really dope. I know I probably didn't say that much about the song in general, but who cares? When we edit, we'll figure it out. And then finally moving into the green shower, which is interesting because this is of course reserved for the jungle level, so the green shower, which is quite apropos, as they would say. And the song definitely has a samba feel to it. I mean, it has a samba feel, like with the drums and everything and the whistles, and so we could quite literally say this is taking place in Brazil somewhere in the jungle. And I think if Blanca is in this game, then it probably be attributed to him. So yeah, and it's like this weird jungle facility. I don't know if it's a base or whatever, but like I said, these levels in EX2 make no damn sense whatsoever, and they're really not associated with any particular character as in the previous game. So it's just all these different locales. But I think this one may have been, you know, no, this is Blanca's level. So yeah, it's interesting, man, because they have a salsa trumpet to accompany the samba sound there. Now the piano, that could go either way, because it could be salsa, it could be samba, but the pattern that's being played on the piano is such that if you played it on the drum, it would be the samba rhythm on the piano. So not to say that all of this, they're not, because you know these are distinct influences from distinct countries, right? You got Cuba, which is the originator of the salsa, and we have Brazil, which is the originator of the samba, right? So we know these are two distinct countries, and we know sometimes when other folks handle things, they tend to view all these places as the same place and all this music as the same and not quite clear on the classification, right? So that's a yes and a no. because the source of both samba and salsa come from African regions. So it stands to say that the source of those people just changed the sound up where they were. It's the same pattern, it's the same rhythm, it's the same people, right? But in one colony you have the Portuguese domination, and in the other colony you have the Spanish colonization. But the source of this music is from the Africans who were there and their progeny. So it stands to reason that the connection is within that. Same people from different places. Right? So that's why it works. That's why this song fits. So yeah, I mean, it's a great song, man. I be getting hyped every time I hear it. You know, it starts off, you know, the drums. So you already hyped as soon as the drums come on. You're invested in the song. The moment it comes, you're like, yeah, I'm for this shit. And you just start to get into it. You know, the keyboard come in nice, then the horns kick in. And then when that break comes, like the kind of samba, I mean the salsa part, you know what I'm saying? It's really nice too, you know, but they fit it so well in this track. I was like, damn, how did they do it? Even in the arcade, they kind of do it a lot of justice, you know, for what they had. So yeah, I really dig this soundtrack. It's a very, very eclectic mix of music and sounds and juxtapositions and fusions and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And of course we know what the source is before anybody wanted to come uncorrect. But yeah, this is a great soundtrack. I had a lot of fun revisiting it, and I had a lot of fun, you know, talking about it, getting back into it, making the mixes. Hopefully you guys had just as much fun as I did. Hopefully this joint isn't too long, but it might be, you know what I'm saying? And if it is, you know, just bear with it. You can listen to it, come back to it later. You know, listen to 15 minutes, come back to it later. We got it all split up in segments for you, 15-minute segments for each one, because this is a pretty expanded, you know, list, because you're doing the arcade version and we're doing the arrange at the same time, so that does run up the run time. But hey, I mean, if you're into the music and you dig it, you'll listen to it, and if not, you'll dip, and that's fine. There's plenty other places you can go to find this sort of thing. But if you rock with us, then that's what's up. This is your main man, Spidey Rock, aka Spilly Thrillem, aka Rick Cam, old Funka flavor for you to withstand. And we about to dip, and we gonna catch you on the flip. So this is your main man reporting to you live, and you about to dip once again. I said it all over again. Be going for a spin. WMOF, the bit. But you want to record yours, regular Funka flavor to you or yours. Don't say the technique. You're in it with the fresh geeks. Peace and Hadoukens. Or Hadonkin. Or no can do can.